TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu congratulates President Donald Trump on his re-election. Palestinians in the Gaza Strip proclaim the United States to be an enemy and the re-election of President Donald Trump to be a catastrophe. Following extensive disagreements, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announces his decision to fire Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was the first world leader to congratulate President-elect Donald Trump that after decisively defeating his rival, outgoing Vice President Kamala Harris. In a statement on X, Premier Netanyahu asserted, quote, "Your historic return to the White House offers a new beginning for America and a powerful recommitment to the great alliance between Israel and America." It is important to note that the Prime Minister's stated sentiments are widely prevalent among Israel's society, with the final pre-election poll granting incoming President Trump a resounding 65% of support, in contrast to outgoing Vice President Harris, who secured merely 13% support.
I think it's good for Israel, yeah, no doubt. It's better than Kamala Harris. But it's very good for Israel because he proved the last time he was a president, he moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and everything that he said, he did. Yeah, so it's good for Israel, no doubt.
Well, first, it's not over yet, but please God, that's going to happen. I see the sky is going to be blue as well, and I think it's going to be a new era for the world, for the Middle East, for Israel. Things going to change.
Turning to the Gaza Strip, where Palestinian residents of the terror-infested territory proclaim that from their perspective, the United States of America is the enemy, and that the election of Donald J. Trump as the 47th president is a catastrophe for the Palestinian people and aspirations.
He and Kamala Harris is the same as administration. Their enemy and hostility against the Palestinian people and against the Palestinian issue is fixed, will not change. And don't forget that he is the first one who confessed with Jerusalem as a capital for the Israeli, and he transferred the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And don't we as Arab, as a Palestinian, will not be naive enough. We have to deal with them as an enemy. We have to determine who's the enemy. They are enemy.
A new catastrophe in the history of the Palestinian people, electing a person, a plan, or an administration that leads the plan to displace and liquidate the Palestinian cause and the Palestinian state. Trump and his administration, in the open, say that we do not support a two-state solution, Palestine or a united Jerusalem as a capital for the Jewish state. There is no national authority. There are no Palestinian lands. This means destruction and devastation for us.
Turning to the Islamic Republic of Iran, where upon initial indications of President Trump's landslide victory, Iran's currency fell to an all-time low, with the rial traded at a staggering 703,000 rials to the dollar. Meanwhile, in Tehran, the public voiced wide concerns over prospects of incoming President Trump reinvigorating the maximum pressure campaign against the Ayatollah regime.
Well, when he returns to office, the first thing he'll definitely do is increase sanctions to put pressure on the Iranian government. After that, he'll create conditions that will either lead to some changes in Iran or lead to conflict. Gradually, as these extensive sanctions start to lessen, Iran might return to its peak days. Look, our main issue with the U.S. is Israel. That means we will never back down from our hostility towards Israel. Now, if they come and say they will stop supporting Israel, maybe something could happen. But if they want to continue supporting Israel, I don't think anything will change.
Meanwhile, across the Arab world, mixed reactions were voiced regarding President Donald Trump's re-election.
I am concerned about the wars. I don't care about Trump or anyone else. I just want someone who can stop the wars. That's it. When he gives statements, he says, "I will not leave Israel's side. I will support it." And this boosts his popularity with those who aren't afraid of Allah, who we have nothing to do with. The American elections do not only affect the United States of America and its residents. However, the effects of these results of these elections will spread across the whole region. We totally know that Democrats and Republicans sometimes have fixed policies to treat international issues. However, with the arrival of Trump, I think many things will change regarding our region and the Palestinian cause, which might lead to Netanyahu taking control of the region. As for my personal wishes, I think all American politicians have similar policies, whether that's Trump, Harris, or others. I mean, I really hope that the elected person does not have an influence on policies in the region. I believe that Trump's win will be in Saudi Arabia's interest, given our previous relationship, and he is also a president who has been tried, nothing more and nothing less.
He has said in his rallies also, if I'll become the president of USA, I will stop the war in the world, especially in the Middle East conflicts, you know. So that's why Trump is the best option.
He, in all honesty, is not a wise man when you see his actions in the previous period. I saw his movements, his visits, and you feel that he is a man not fit to lead a country on the scale of America. I do not know, but I say it's not Trump who leads America, but those behind it. He will come stronger and more motivated. Why? Because he will develop and expand the experience he had previously. Why? Because he has a vision. You see now the events in Gaza, the events in Iran, and the events in Iraq. There will be a comprehensive change in the world because America, whether we like it or not, is the leader of the world.
Returning to Israel, where dozens of projectiles were launched by the Iranian proxy Hezbollah from Lebanon toward Israeli territory, including toward central Israel. And while one projectile landed on a vehicle, thankfully, no injuries were reported. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, Prime Minister Netanyahu announced that he had reached an impasse with Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and therefore has decided to fire him.
In the midst of a war, more than ever, full trust is required between the Prime Minister and the Minister of Defense. Unfortunately, although in the first months of the war there was such trust and there was very fruitful work, during the last months this trust cracked. Significant gaps were discovered between me and the Minister of Defense Gallant in the management of the campaign, and these gaps were accompanied by statements and actions that contradict the decisions of the government and the decisions of the cabinet. But the crisis of trust that was getting wider between myself and the Minister of Defense became public, and this crisis does not allow the proper continuation of the management of the campaign. It is not only me who says that. Most members of the government and of the cabinet, almost everyone, share this feeling that this cannot go on this way. In light of this, I decided today to terminate the term of office of the Minister of Defense. And instead, I decided to appoint Minister Israel Katz to the job. Israel Katz has already proved his abilities and his contribution to national security as foreign minister, as finance minister, as intelligence minister over 5 years, and just as important as a years-long member of the security cabinet.
In response to Netanyahu's decision, outgoing Defense Minister Yoav Gallant made a public statement in which he pointed to the core disagreement that brought about Premier Netanyahu's decision, namely, a draft law which essentially exempts Israel's ultra-Orthodox community from serving in the Israel Defense Forces.
The Prime Minister informed me that he had decided to dismiss me from my position as Minister of Defense in the midst of the war. This dismissal comes as a result of disagreements over three issues. The first, my decisive position that everyone who is of draft age must be drafted, must serve in the IDF and defend the State of Israel. We must not allow a discriminatory and corrupt law to pass in the Israeli parliament and exempt thousands of citizens from carrying the burden. It is time for a change. Here, on this occasion, I would like to salute the fallen and their families, the wounded and disabled, the hostages and their families, and IDF fighters wherever they are. I trust you and I salute you.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I would like to encourage you, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. Separately, if you're blessed by our productions, which are exclusively donation-based, please consider supporting our programs with a donation. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you an Erev Mevorach, and God willing, we will see you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.